Hello mommies and daddies, you're watching Smart Vichar. All of us parents know that parenting teenagers is a monumental task. It demands a whole lot of patience, but the rewards are enormous and if done right, worth it. It takes determination, creativity and perseverance. And here today in this video, which is part 1 of 3 video series on how to build strong relationship with your teenagers, we will be talking about how to communicate with our teenage kids. You know your child is a teenager when he or she refuses to do what you ask, agrees to do it and then unwittingly forgets, denies they ever agreed to do the work, says you don't get it at least twice a day to mom and dad, insults you, mocks you, doesn't text you back and then swears they never got the message, slams door, screams, roars and cries regularly, and the list is endless. A piece of advice for parents of teens is not to take their words or behavior personally. So what are your options? A. Keep fighting to get them to change. B. Change yourself and give teens space to become more sensible. Of course, the same response is B. A very important myth to be dispelled is the belief that teenagers need to be detached from their parents in order to develop their own identities and individualities. Now, this particular point of view leads parents to the conclusion that teenagers need to be left alone for most part, and that peers should be their primary group to which they can relate to. Because of this, parents shy away from conversing with their teens about their lives in an attempt not to pry or invade into their privacy, which in turn parents believe is very necessary for teens' development. Now, this is a very dangerous viewpoint according to me, because it deprives the teen of the very source of guidance and support that is still needed from parents during this period of transition and adjustment. Now, the next question is how to talk to our teens. A parent must know what is going on in his or her teen's life, and this knowledge must be acquired continually or updated regularly. This is accomplished most simply by talking to your teen on a daily basis. If you have not made this a habit prior to adolescence, it may be a little difficult for you to begin now, but it is not impossible. It can be done and should become a regular and automatic process. Now, important things to be kept in mind. Firstly, fix a time of conversation with your child. Pick a regular time of a day most conducive to relaxed conversation for both of you, such as dinner time, early evening or late afternoon, depending on what works into your schedules. Be sure to allow at least 15 to 30 minutes or even more if you can. The more you allow your teen to converse with you under relaxed circumstances, the more time they will want to spend with you. Interestingly, teens often talk more in the car or late at night. This may or may not fit into your routine, but believe me, it pays to give attention to them at that time when they approach you for a nice talk. Second thing to be kept in mind is to be very open-minded. Now, how to be open-minded? Another thing to be kept in mind is to be open-minded. Adopt an open-minded and curious attitude. Your goal here is to find out what your teen is thinking, what is going on with their peers and in school, and what might be the source of distress and struggles for them. Thirdly, do not use this time for any kind of disciplinary discussion. Never. Because if you do, you will see your teen begin to avoid talking to you. Keep the disciplinary discussions separate. You'll note that I'm not asking you to avoid these discussions completely. You discuss disciplinary issues with your kids, but not combine these two discussions. These kind of discussions require a safe zone. You must not try and pollute your attempts to get to know your teens well by talking about disciplinary issues at this time, and build a happy relationship and a trustful relationship. Next point that you have to remember is to listen more than you talk. Next thing that you have to keep in your mind is that you have to listen more than you talk. Most of the talking, dear parents, should be done by your teen. Your job is to get the conversation rolling and then to let them direct the flow and content of the interchange. What do you talk about? Another very important question. What is it that you should be talking about with your teens? You can start your conversation with peers. This part is a little easier. The number one subject is peers. Most teens, given the chance, can chatter endlessly about what goes on in school. But if you have the type of teen that is very chatty, you only need to ask one question and then they will start off and give you a detailed description of what is going on with their friends. But in case you have a quieter, more introverted and a secretive child, you can start conversations about peers in a broader sense, such as what the trends are among peers, rather than asking about their immediate circle of friends. Next thing that you can discuss about with your teens is self-image. Now, self-image is a very good subject. You can ask direct questions pertaining to your child's self-image. Remember that teenage is the time when our children's identities, individualities are forming. And teens have endless interest in thinking about who they are, who would they like to be, and what their assets and shortcomings are, and so on and so forth. They are hypersensitive to their appearance and to what others think about them. Find out who their role models are and ask if they like the way they look. Take whatever they have to offer and expand it. Let's say if your daughter says she thinks she's not pretty, then find out specifically how she arrived at that conclusion and what or who she measures herself against. You may uncover many things you didn't previously know about your daughter and will find some relief in having this discussion with you. Shubhra, do you want to add anything to this?
8. Yes, certainly. I feel the parents should also talk to their teens about their pressures and struggles. Be aware your teen is dealing with basic areas of struggle such as peer pressure, bullying, etc. Be vigilant and do not avoid these issues, as all teens do deal with them on some level. Assist them in dealing with these pressures. The more they can be open with you about their fears, concerns, struggles, the better they will be able to deal with them.
Very true. Another thing that we can talk about is their opinions and future plans. Finally, we can encourage conversations that deal with their opinions and their future plans. What does your teen think about politics, religion, current events, and career? What does he or she think about corporal punishment, global warming, child labor, and many other such social issues? You might find that your teen has very strong views about some of these things. These discussions can give you tremendous insight into what is important to your teen, as well as how his or her mind works in terms of higher level thinking. I hope you found this video useful. We'll come back with part 2 of this video series soon. Stay tuned for more. Please share your comments below in the comment section. Thank you and stay safe and stay strong.